Playing the piano brings me a kind of peacefulness that you just can't get any other way.
It's the kind of peace that Army veteran Tom Glenn craves as he copes with the effects of post-traumatic stress disorder. He witnessed some harrowing times during the Vietnam War. He was a civilian at the time, working for the National Security Agency. He spent 13 years on and off in Vietnam as a linguist, intercept operator, analyst, and reporter.
I really cared about the troops. Not the policy, not the war, none of that, but the guys. I wanted to be there working with them to do everything I could to save their lives and make them successful.
And though he often outranked the commanders, Glenn didn't hesitate to risk his own life.
Can you move him? Okay, try and bring him back here. Remember to stop the bleeding.
When I was there supporting the troops, if they were going to go into combat, I was not going to sit back in the back and let them go and risk their lives. I just couldn't let myself do that. And not only that, but the only way I could do the job properly was to be right there with them on the front lines.
Glenn was fluent in Vietnamese, so he was able to intercept radio messages from the North Vietnamese. His biggest challenge and frustration was getting the commanders to believe him and act on his intel.
That was why it was so god-awful when I would be working with these guys. I was living with them. I was eating with them, sitting on the ground. I was sleeping in their tents, you know, with the enlisted people, not with the officers, using their latrines. Then we go together into combat. And this guy standing next to me, who I slept next to the night before, was horribly killed.
Today, Glenn spends much of his time speaking to veterans groups and students about his efforts in Vietnam. He chooses to keep the past alive despite the painful memories that still haunt him over 4 decades later. Glenn says people are most interested in hearing about what it was like to be in Vietnam for the fall of Saigon.
I went out that night, pouring rain, pitch black, and when I got on the helicopter, as soon as we took off, we started taking shells. I saw the tracers coming at us. We took so much lead, I thought we were going to go down, but we didn't. We made it.
Glenn's memories of his covert intelligence missions serve as the backdrop for several fiction books he's written. Writing, along with his music and volunteering to work with the homeless, patients with HIV, and people dying in hospice, has allowed Glenn to escape from the past.
It helped me to cope. When I was with people who were worse off than I was, all these horrible memories faded into the background.
Glenn never shies away from sharing his stories, especially with young people who know little about what actually happened in Vietnam.
I guess the lesson I would give them is learn what combat is, learn how ghastly it is, learn the horrible things that happen to people, then make your decision about whether you're going to go to war. And I want the American public in general to know that. The only thing you can do is cope, and I've learned to do that pretty well.
I'm Nancy Yamada for State Circle.